Today I will speak about our very challenging, very entertaining, but very fun, and I think it can be quite travel to the future, like this one. This year was quite busy for Blend4Web. We did a lot of cool stuff like WebGL 2.0 cycles materials, made some huge project manager improvements, added some new virtual reality devices, and also we did some features for Capri project. However, Capri project is not ready yet, but features we made for it are already available, and you can try it out right now in our recent versions. Okay. Today I'm not going to speak about what we're going to do such and such. I just to focus on the needs of our users, because this is because we try to make 3D web, make Blend4Web a solution for 3D web for everyone, not just for some kind of users, but also sometimes we still need to put accent to make features that some of our customers absolutely need, some group of our customers absolutely need. And you can see on this slide these groups of customers. By the way, if you use this hashtag in your social media, in your own post, it would be very fun, I think, because we introduced it recently, and I think we need to focus on 3D web in general, not just some parts of it, some etc. game dev and so on. We need to focus on 3D web in general. And you, even if you don't write on using Blend4Web, just conventional WebGL, you can use it too. So I think this is quite nice to have all posts which talk about 3D web, like it's shared environment, I don't know. Our basic concepts remain the same. It's actually they are quite simple actually. These are rendering quality. We need to make our engine work better to generate better images, better renderings, but also we need to keep up with performance. We need to keep performance in constraint, because if we do a lot of nice photorealistic features, we going to harm performance a lot. These two things actually come together. And another two things which came together is simplicity of creating content and integration with other web technologies. And we're going to do in these areas a lot too. Regarding rendering quality, it's kind of maybe I think it's kind of number one thing why users choose Blend4Web over competitive technologies, and that's why we put a lot of efforts in this area. We go into complete material library, add missing materials, add some materials you absolutely need, because you cannot always do all materials in general, but some materials are very important for our users, very popular, and we're going to complete all basic material in next year. Another things that Eugene already mentioned and that we need to make is order-independent transparency, because transparent objects is kind of hard nut in 3D real-time 3D area, because because it simply not works fine for transparent objects, and we need to make some great techniques to be able to render them. Another two things which came to our attention recently are part of WebGL 2.0 standard, and these are HDR and sRGB textures, and these can be used to improve dynamic range of the images you produce. And of course, we don't forget about adding more internal, Blender internal and cycles nodes, and we're going to maybe improve current nodes and also add new nodes. Yeah, performance is kind of a hard deal, as I told earlier. We did a lot last year in this area, but still there is much to do, and our main approach here is to investigate, search for GPU bottlenecks, find them and eliminate. Of course, we need to optimize shaders as well in general, maybe reduce their size, maybe reduce compilation time, because it's a big deal too. For physics, we're going to switch to WebAssembly backend, and this quite new technology. It's not stable yet, but we're going to make it stable. And another two things which came to us recently is our engine size and size of loading resources, because on the internet some people have low band internet connection, some people just don't want to wait. They need to get the 3D contact as fast as possible, and that's why we're going to put some efforts in these two areas, like maybe make section of our engine which can be loaded independently one from another, and thus it will allow us to reduce loading time. And yeah, a lot of things should be done in this area. We need to simplify creating content, simplify creating 3D content as much as possible, because this is quite important feature, because it's not enough to have nice engine, good looking rendering, which can produce good looking rendering, but the idea is to put this 3D content on the web with minimal efforts, and we're going to improve all of these, and some things can be done as part of Blender UI user experience. Some features can be done in Blend4Web add-on. Some features can be done in Project Manager, and so on. Let's talk about groups of our users. One of the major fields of our attention is shopping and 3D configurator. Here we're going to improve logic node editor, and this is our first priority here, because some groups of people don't want to use JavaScript, don't want to program anything, they just want to make simple basic logic in the application, and that's why they require better logic node editor. For customers who need to make advanced set of features, we're going to improve Engine API. For configurators and shopping marketing applications, it's quite important to be able to load, unload objects, scenes, geometry, make some editing in geometry in real time, and that's why these two fields, geometry and objects, are very important for us. rendering of the lines is important too, because sometimes people will absolutely need it. Currently, we don't support shading for these lines, and we're going to support it this year. Text rendering is important too, because sometimes you need to write in real time, create some textual content in real time, and you need to be able to do so fast and in a reliable way. So there are some hacks you can use to achieve this text rendering, but we need to make a general solution which will be acceptable for all people. And another thing is resource caching, because faster loading, faster switching of materials and geometry requires us to cache or pre-cache some resources, load them ahead of time, and use in real time. Yes, for game development, we have some things in mind too. Physics, recently physics came to our attention again, because as you have seen, maybe you have seen in our WebVR demo, the physics is inherent to it. Physics is a basis of such demo, and this is not. This is actually not specific. It's common feature for VR applications, and that's why we need to make physics faster, makes more stable simulation. Of course, as I mentioned, switch to WebAssembly backend, and add new API which you can use in your applications. Not quite physics, but similar is to be able to simulate effects based on particles on GPU. WebGL 2.0 gives us such possibility, and we need to make it also. Of course, we need to make it on WebGL 1.0, and that's why this feature is not ready yet, but we're going to put some effort in it. And about effects, some volumetric effects like realistic fire, fog, smoke are based on 3D textures, and while these two textures recently has been made available for us by introducing WebGL 2.0, we need to use this feature and make these nice, good-looking effects. And of course, we need to improve our animation system, because sometimes people asking why it doesn't work, because sometimes people put a lot of bones into their models, and it's not cross-platform to use many nodes, but we need to maybe we need even to eliminate this constraint that you will be able to use as much as bones as you wish. Everybody likes virtual reality. I hope you like it too. And the major pitfall here is that WebVR standard is not ready yet. It's not stable. It does not work using standard or conventional browsers. And we just hope that also with our help, of course, because we cooperating with developers of WebVR standard, this standard will come to a stable state, and it will be available to all users. We need to support more devices, controllers, and improve our configurator for cardboard-like devices. And the last thing that came to our attention is basic. Maybe we need to implement basic artificial augmented reality features. Some libraries are already available, but sometimes it's kind of hard to use them, and we need to implement this kind of features in the engine itself. We always think about Blender artists, mostly because there is a lot of content Blender artists made, and a major part of this content is not for web, and we're going to make all of these to improve the situation. So, like, you just take any model from such websites as Blend4Web, load in Blender, export, and that's all. So we're going to make all this content available on the web. Learning is a very, very important feature. Not feature, but I don't know. It's very important. We're going to do some internal help in Project Manager. It's kind of hard to use for some people. Going to make more code examples, refine somewhat, make some minor refinements in Blender user interface to simplify it, to make it straightforward. Of course, we will continue our efforts on adding more documentation, more tutorials, more articles, more videos. And I want to thank our community, because our community already does a lot of work in this area. They're spreading the word of Blend4Web, trying to educate, trying to teach people how to use our solution, and thanks. If you need to stay tuned on our development efforts, please follow our Blend4Web official Blend4Web account on Twitter. More info can be found on our blog. And if you need to ask questions or communicate with other developers, please use our forum. Very important thing to do is test your application. Test the application using our developer preview and release candidate, because when sometimes very, very rare, but still cases when the engine comes out and some people say that something doesn't work. So yes, please test as early as possible, because we're going to maybe today. I also thought about this. Maybe we need to release developer preview builds more regularly, earlier than much earlier than we currently do, because maybe even make it automatically, create it automatically, because like nightly, I don't know. And of course, you can use our social medias. The list is located on the bottom of our Blend4Web page. Follow, leave comments. So my presentation is over. Thank you for listening, and if you have some questions, I will be pleased to answer them.
My question is about augmented reality, because we do a lot of this in our work, and we eager to use it with Blend4Web, but as far as I know, major blocker for augmented reality in browser, and with Blend4Web works in browser, is lack of support of WebRTC. Availability to browser get video stream from device's camera.
I see. Like it's not available. I remember
it's available
in Safari
on
maybe.
Chromium developer, not release, and only on Android. It's unsupported on iOS still, and how can?
Yeah, we kind of limited by browser features here, but I think this standard is quite developed already, and I think it will come to browsers.
We wait for this 2 years already, and no hope for. Everybody talks it's will be done right in next month, but nothing happens.
WebRTC standard is kind of important for all people, because I think Safari developers already know that this can be used for wider range of application, not augmented reality. So I think it will come to Safari.
Until WebRTC standard is not implemented in all browsers, mobile browsers, we have no hope.
Yeah,
you didn't have some magical hack.
Yeah, we need to make we need to get video stream from device. So nothing we can do here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have seen the text rendering will be improved, so I can in the next Blender conference see all presentations in Blend4Web instead of PowerPoint, combined with libraries for diagrams and such.
Yeah, we have actually some indoor developments in this area, and it's kind of challenging for us to make all content, textual content, graphics content, all in 3D. And like people already saying that 3D websites are coming, because if you keep in mind WebVR standard, you need to make content specifically for these devices, and if you want to make web a platform for virtual reality, you need to keep in mind that all content should be done in 3D. So yes, maybe we're going to show some developments on our site, we made on our site. So, and of course, text rendering is very important.
More questions, Alexander?
Could you please tell which cycle nodes will be supported in the next release, in the release after the next one, and so on? Yeah.
You mean what exactly will be supported?
Cycles nodes, you said? Is this a question more to Konstantin?
I think maybe you need to ask Konstantin directly. He is somewhere. Yeah, I see you. Just ask Konstantin, he will tell you more about it.
It's a questions from our chat. Will Wilker is asking about do you have any ideas on the best back-end platform for multi-user or multiplayer applications? Back-end platform.
Back-end. Okay, yeah. I see. Multi-user interface is quite supported. Yeah, even we did nothing in this area by ourselves, but browser vendors already did. So you can use some technologies, some web-based technologies like WebSockets to achieve multi-platform, multi-user to create multi-user and multi-platform applications by yourself. And we already thought about it and thought about to implement some networking features in our engine, but the use cases are so wide, so we just know where just don't know where to start, because some use cases require somewhat different kind of features, and maybe in if this is multi-platform and multi-user environment is important, maybe just use generic technologies and implement your own code to implement your own code. Yeah.
Any more questions? Yep.
Well, my question is maybe some kind of discussion.
Okay.
Do you have plans to support different APIs except WebGL? I want to make some information about Apple initiative.
Metal, you mean?
Not Metal, but WebGPU.
I see.
Yeah, and they claim that WebGL has problems with growing, so to get new capabilities from desktop versions, and they Apple actually wanted to present their new Web API, which will support tessellation, SSBO, compute shaders and so on. And I suppose that with the analogy with the Metal, they can restrict WebGL in Safari and tell everyone to use Web GPU.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our approach here is simple. Then a lot of people will be harmed by this. We're going to fix the situation. So if we see that WebGL is not quite supported in Apple devices, then of course we switch to this new backend. But I hope that this will never came to a reality, and WebGL will be will continue its developments and so on. So because currently, actually, WebGL 2.0 is quite feature-rich, and it alone can give us a lot of things we can work on, and we will improve our rendering possibilities, our engine to match this set of WebGL 2.0 features. But yes, we think about future, and I hope that there won't be such situation like in desktop 3D solutions like Vulkan, Metal, DirectX 12, and this kind of messy situation, and maybe WebGL will not come to it. Okay.
Any more questions? No, I think that's it.
Okay, thank you.